Hey, what's happening? It's Christopher here, and I want to talk a little Pandy, the Panda Dragon coin coming to Solana to chill and spread those good vibes because that's what we're all about, right? We're spreading hope, we're helping to end despair through creativity, charity, and being of service to others. This little dude is how we're going to do it. So today I wanted to go a little bit deeper into Solana because that's the blockchain that we're going to be launching on through pump.fun. So we've got kind of a lot to cover. Hopefully I can stay on topic. But the first thing I wanted to do is go into some of the, I guess, kind of broader crypto understanding by looking at Bitcoin in particular. So let me move my little picture here over to this side. So as I've talked about, what took place on April 20th, meme enough, 420, which is just perfect for the crypto space, right? But it was Bitcoin halving, and what Bitcoin halving is when the mining operation to uh, release more Bitcoin tokens. So there, let me take a step back. When the Bitcoin protocol was set up, it was established that there would only ever be 21 million Bitcoins in existence ever. And the reality, because of the nature of cryptocurrency, is that there will never be 21 million because people lose their wallets, tokens get destroyed in various other ways, etc. Now, the way in which tokens entered the market is it wasn't that there was 21 million tokens from the beginning of Bitcoin. Again, Bitcoin was the first. So Bitcoin came out with sort of this unfolding process where you had to mine these tokens. And essentially what this is just complicated math equations. Now, the reward for completing this mining operation every 4 years gets cut in half. So what we can see with this chart from Rect Capital, which definitely check them out, look into them. They do the way I look at charts is a lot more art. They use a lot more science. So it's good to not rely on anyone's information, which reminds me to say I am not a financial advisor. This is not financial advice. I'm just a dude kind of waxing in the crypto space and talking about things based on my knowledge and my understanding, which is flawed, fallible, ever evolving, ever growing, ever changing. I'm constantly seeking new information to get deeper and better understanding of things. So if you ever hear me say anything that you disagree with for any reason, let me know. If you think there's a way that I could be educated, let me know. That said, let's have some fun while we look into this and we kind of think out loud. So again, what happens after Bitcoin halving traditionally is there's a reaccumulation of capital, i.e., the price is going down, these red zones. And then following that reaccumulation of capital, we have the parabolic upside or the bull run. Now, what we know is that we're currently in this red section. Now, this chart was made, I believe, yesterday. Is when I believe it was made, the 8th. Yes, right up the top here, we've got the date. So, I'm being as on top of everything as possible because today is the 9th that I'm putting this out. So this bull run, when exactly it fully kicks off, when we're done reaccumulating, it's hard to truly say. But it looks inevitable that we're going to go on this bull run. Now, one of the things that's interesting about the crypto space with every space in general is that there's always the chicken littles that the sky is falling. And so when the price is going down, there's always those that are saying, crypto's crashing, it's the end of crypto, da 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 da. But I encourage you to just think through all of the apocalypses in every single frame for that word that we've lived through over the course of our lives. Countless ends of something that were not the ends of anything. Now, I remember living in the 90s and I remember the way that people talked about the internet then. It's very similar to the way many people talk about crypto now. In 2030, 2040, 2050, we will laugh at the way that people misunderstood what cryptocurrency was. So I say that to say this. This is Bitcoin, this is not Solana. But again, Bitcoin is roughly half of the crypto market. So what Bitcoin does, crypto tends to do. Now, what's important to look at, let me go back to this, in addition to technical data like a chart, right, which is basically what I've been showing, is to look at fundamental data. So let's do that for Solana a little bit. Now, this little chart here on Coin Checkup is Solana popularity on Google searches. Excuse me. A little something in my throat here. So the thing that we notice when we look at this Google chart here is that the popularity of Solana is going up. There's a gradual trend line, obviously some peaks and some troughs, right? But there's this gradual upward trend line that we're seeing. We can then take a look at the number of active addresses on the Solana network daily. And again, we see this upward trend. We look at the number of new addresses on the Solana network daily. And we see this upward trend. Active addresses monthly. Again, the upward trend. Now we're in May, so this bar is lower at the very beginning of May. So we'll see where this ends up. But again, upward trend. Now, when we move beyond, or when we look at that fundamental data, we see a lot of growth. And so what I wanted to come back to, let me make sure I've got everything kind of set. Let me move my head a little bit. Oops, not that. So when we come back to doing some chart analysis, and we notice that the Solana price has come down since my last video where I talked about Solana is ready to pump, let's look a little bit into what we're seeing. So in the 24-hour chart, let me get my handy dandy line tool. Let's just make this color, I guess. And let's go with a 10. So what we can see is a couple of lines like this, right? Now, again, these are just kind of rough illustrations that are showing the point. These aren't super technical, but we're converging into a point where we're going to find support. Now, if we kind of plot this with our intuition, we can see that it's going to be somewhere in the neighborhood of around this like 142, 140, probably close to about 142-ish. Somewhere in that neighborhood is where we're ultimately going to have to find support before the pump, where I believe we're going to. So our resistance line is getting lower and lower, but our support line has been staying steady. So the real key, this is what's going to be important to pay attention to as far as this reaccumulation period and when the bull run officially kicks off for Solana specifically. Now, again, we want to switch over to maybe, I do like yellow, whoops, let's take this back, purple. And if I were to do another little line like we had talked about before with when we were looking at a different chart, different time period, we have this double bottom. So this is working us, this is how prices always move. They always go up and down, and it's through how much up and down they're moving that you're looking for trends, right? So it'll be interesting to see what happens as, again, the support and the resistance converge, which direction we move at that inflection point. Now, when we zoom out a little bit and we look at our 7-day chart, and we do the same thing, right? It's probably not. It'd be more like this. So again, what we're seeing is the support level being tested. Now, this could drive down. What we could see is further action this way, right? Driving the price down. But it'll be interesting ultimately to see what we're paying attention to, because what again, fundamentally, the fundamentals are what drive everything. This chart is simply the psychological, the collective perception of cryptocurrency, of Solana, of the meme coin space, of all sorts of different factors, right? So there's an incongruence, a they're not always in line with each other, and this is what creates the under or over value of a particular asset. Now, I believe Solana is undervalued, and I believe as the price goes down, it gets more and more undervalued because again, the fundamentals are high. So let's take another zoom out here and take a look at the 1 month chart. Now, this is the chart that we were looking at before in the last video I made. And I had pointed out, oops, actually, I think I went, yeah. It was more like this is what I was doing, was showing this W, right? Now let's put on these kind of lines here, kind of lines here. Okay, so what I had talked about in that previous video was this W pattern and then breaking out potentially here. But I think I was a little premature because as we're seeing this W pattern, forget, that section there, this W pattern is now turning into an M, so a double top instead of a double bottom. And a double top is an indication of price movement in the downward direction. So obviously, as we can see here with these lines, we might get somewhere around maybe like 115 is what looks like could be a direction that we would be heading if we anticipate the price of Solana, the value of Solana, the market capitalization of Solana to go down. And if you're only looking at it from this particular frame of reference, you might be, joining the crowds of the Chicken Littles and thinking that the sky is falling. This is the end of the crypto run, the crypto wave that we've been experiencing. But again, this is just one perspective. And so I wanted to zoom out a little bit further, and we'll take a look at the 3 month chart. So again, kind of put our lines here, and we can see that we're heading towards an inflection point on this 3 month chart. And again, somewhere around this 140 range price point, we see this inflection point happening. Now, again, what exactly happens at that inflection point, I'm not going to pretend to know, okay? Again, when we look at fundamental data, I believe we're going up, but the inflection point could very well it could mean we're going down further for, again, more reaccumulation before this bull run that we saw on that chart from Rect Capital, which fits in line with all sorts of other stuff that I've been looking into, been researching my own analysis. It's just a much cleaner illustration of it, so that's why I wanted to share it. Now, when we zoom out even further, and we take a look at the year, what we see with Solana, let me go to my purple here. So what we see with Solana, is, again, our trend line is more, our channel, let me just actually move that. So if we look at it like this, over the course of the year, and we're moving through it, what we notice is we broke above the resistance level here pretty significantly, cracking the 200 price point. And from there, the market corrected and brought it down, where it then found this support level that we've been riding ever since, September, October 2023. And that support level is now kind of being tested. But what we can see is you have these four straight red candles And this, to get bigger, then smaller, then go green for your buying candles and then selling, it's looking like the support level is going to hold. And we're going to kind of round this curve and move back up. So theoretically, if this is May down here, let's maybe do this. This is May down here. Let's say like June. Let's do that. Say June, July, August, right? And roughly what we can see, if we continue on this trend line, if these support and resistance levels continue to hold, is something kind of like this, right? Something somewhere in the neighborhood of, June getting closer to 200, July kind of breaking through 200, August maybe north of 225 we're pushing through. This is kind of what I see with Solana. Now, again, this is speculation, right? This is me looking at things. This is me, diving into the fundamental data. This is me using my intuition. This is an art. It's a science. I'm not going to claim absolute expertise. It would be foolish for me to claim expertise. I'm not an experienced trader. I'm a simulation-based individual. I could tell you countless stories about my brother Matt and I making all these simulations as little boys, all this different math that we played with in order to create these scenarios and then see how they would play out. I have been highly self-destructive in my life. And so while I've accumulated large amounts of resources at various points, I've squandered them. Now, I just hit 7 years sober back in October 16th, 2023. So I'm on my path. I've made tremendous strides in my life. And I've got minor trading that I've been doing. But for me to try to sit on a pedestal and claim any expertise, no, not going to do that. I like to think I'm a bright guy. I like to think I know what I'm talking about. But I'm self-aware enough to know that I don't know what I don't know. And therefore, everyone who watches this, everyone who listens to me talk, do your own research. See what you see when you look into these charts, when you look into the fundamental data, not just on Solana, but crypto projects in general. It's good to focus in on things, but it's also good to relax into a meditative state and just see what you pick up from the ether, if you will. So anyway, I don't want to ramble too long and pontificate, but I wanted to share this to just go a little bit deeper into the Solana blockchain, because obviously that's where we're launching our Panda Dragon coin oh so soon. So make sure that you do have everything taken care of on kind of that initial checklist for the Panda Dragon coin. You're following the Twitter account, you've joined the Telegram group, you have a Phantom wallet, and you have Solana on the wallet. Keep in mind, it will take roughly 7 days to get Solana onto your wallet that you can trade with, because first you'll have to use MoonPay or Coinbase in order to do it. And there is a period of time between when your bank puts the funds over to Coinbase or MoonPay, and then once it's on Coinbase and MoonPay, it's going to be instantaneous over to your Phantom wallet. All of your trading is going to be virtually instantaneous, just seconds. That's one of the beauties of the blockchain. But then once you take it out back into the legacy financial system, the centralized financial system, then you've got some slowdown periods again. So anyway, I find myself rambling per usual. So we'll leave it there. We'll talk soon. Peace.